to him and see what he wants done with that. I need to reconnect with all of them because one of the vendors also asked me what time they were going to be allowed to set up.
Right, that's what this is.
Okay.
And then I was like, and it was kind of asked of all people.
How much time do they need?
Yeah, and I was like, well, let me get with everybody else to see how much time they need, because it was the other 2 food vendors that I never did get with them. So I need to do that this week.
I got a little bit of time. I still need to finish making the raffle tickets. I'm going to make them a little bit bigger than I did the first time last year. So.
Okay.
Everybody skipping out for the next letter or what?
Haley was coming, so I'll check to see where she's at.
Now tomorrow when it rains.
Yeah, I know.
There she is.
Oh. Ignore that text message.
No, don't
I was
ignore
like,
it.
I know
Don't
she's
ignore it.
coming. I know I talked to her.
Yeah.
We need one more person.
Okay, we're all here
Hey,
now.
Beth, do you want to go tomorrow morning?
Oh.
9 a.m. with
Are
me?
you gonna
So we
be
can
here for
tag,
Leo's?
so we tag team again.
Let me see if I can.
Are you Leo in it?
What's that?
Are you the Leos?
I have no idea. I don't know if I don't know if they're doing
Yeah.
anything
So
about
we have to
it.
take it extra.
It just came up so fast. Is that
Tomorrow, 9 a.m. is when it starts.
Okay, I'll let you know. I don't know if I can or not, but yeah, I'll let you know.
Okay, I have 6:30, so if everyone would please stand for the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks for everyone giving up a beautiful evening tonight. One of the only ones we're supposed to have this week. So Mel, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Brumbaugh, Mr. Fasig,
Yes.
Mrs. Fenstermaker,
Here?
Mrs. Gill,
Here.
Mrs. Clyde,
Here.
Mrs. Sherrick.
Here.
I'll make a motion. Please, Tyler.
Second.
Mr. Fasig,
Yes.
Mrs. Fenstermaker.
Yes.
Mrs. Gill.
Yes.
Mrs. Sherrick,
Yes.
Mrs. Clyde.
Yes.
On pages 1 through 5, we have the April 15th, 2024 minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the April 15th, 2024 minutes.
Second.
Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Fenstermaker.
Yes.
Mrs. Gill,
Yes.
Mrs. Sherrick.
Yes.
Mr. Fasig.
Yes.
Mrs. Clyde.
Yes.
And on pages 6 through 9, the April bank reconciliation.
I'll make a motion to approve the April bank reconciliation.
I just had a question on the non-sufficient fund, was that? I see the non-sufficient fund.
Yeah, there's 2 of them.
2 of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, as soon as they come in threes.
Okay. All right.
For the gas.
For that.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Fasig.
Yes.
Mrs. Clyde.
Yes.
Mrs. Sherrick.
Yes.
Mrs. Fenstermaker.
Yes.
Mrs. Gill.
Yes. And on pages 10 through 12, approval of the April vouchers.
Maker Energy, which one is that one?
That's our gas bill.
That's gas, okay, that's what I thought.
I'll make a motion to approve the April vouchers.
I'll second.
Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Fasig.
Yes.
Mrs. Fenstermaker.
Yes.
Mrs. Sherrick.
Yes.
Mrs. Gill.
Yes.
Mrs. Clyde.
Yes.
And the April gas and ERUs, pages 13 through 15.
I'll make a motion to approve April gas and ERUs.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Fenstermaker.
Yes.
Mrs. Gill.
Yes.
Mrs. Sherrick.
Yes.
Mr. Fasig.
Yes.
Mrs. Clyde.
Yes.
Thank you. Obviously, Greg has put in a lot of hours, and he was hoping to maybe get out out and try to start farming this evening. And Tammy, she also had another commitment this evening, so we are very thrilled to have with us this evening Sue Davis from the Macomb Lions, as well as Beth, who is also a Lion member. The Macomb Lions celebrated their 75th anniversary, and I was fortunate enough to be able to go to their ceremony and give them a proclamation, and I wanted to make sure that we recognize them here from the council. So I'll ask the two of you to come on over, and you're going to be the photographer?
Yeah, where are you standing?
Okay. Well, don't look at mine. I had a pen explode today right here.
Anybody got a paper bag?
I've got boxes. There's
No,
all
we're
three.
great. We can all fit in one.
I'll go ahead and read. Do you want to go
Okay,
up
yeah.
first?
Here. This way, you.
Perfect.
Okay. A proclamation recognizing the Macomb Lions Club's 75th anniversary. Whereas the motto of Lions Club International is, "We serve," and the Macomb Lions Club is a valuable service club in the community. And the Macomb Lions Club established their charter on April 28, 1949, with 15 members and currently has 38 members. The mission of Lions Club International is to empower Lions Clubs, volunteers, and partners to improve health and well-being, strengthen communities, to support those in need through humanitarian services and grants that impact lives globally, and encourage peace and international understanding. The Macomb Lions Club participates in a number of yearly projects, including Adopt a Highway, where they pick up litter on State Route 186, supplies dictionaries to all third graders at Macomb Elementary, organizes the Macomb Cookie Festival Parade. They host the Macomb Over 80s Party, recognizes the Macomb Citizen of the Year, the Macomb Community Calendar. They also organize the Halloween Costume Parade, and many, many more. The Macomb's Lions Club has supported various causes, including diabetes research, Ohio Lions Pediatric Cancer Foundation, Pilot Dogs for the Blind, Ohio's Lions Eye Research Foundation, Macomb School Academic Honors, and the Northwest Ohio Lions Eye Care Foundation to assist with cataract surgeries and many more. The Macomb Lions Club provides a community need by assisting with eyeglasses for low-income families, and also provides a global need by collecting used eyeglasses, which are cleaned, labeled by prescription, and packaged for shipment to needy countries where optometrists dispense the glasses free of charge, and the members have assisted on these distribution trips to both Romania and St. Martin in the Caribbean islands. The Macomb Lions Club provides a local community chicken dinner, and the proceeds support a $1,000 scholarship awarded to a Macomb senior. The Macomb Lions Club sponsors the Macomb Leo Club for high school youth, and they have assisted with the Halloween parade, chicken barbecue, and district convention. Now therefore, I, Kathy Sherrill, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the village of Macomb, do hereby proclaim that the Macomb's Lions Club's 75th anniversary will be celebrated throughout the year of 2024 in honor of their ongoing excellent service to the community. And thank you very much for all that you do in our community. Thanks. Oh, you did a lot more. And you may have that.
Oh.
And you're free, like I said, you don't have to hang out with us.
Thank you.
75 years, and I believe from that meeting I attended, it was the Arlington chapter
Yeah.
that sponsored the Macomb.
Right.
So,
Thank you.
Thanks, Sue.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
See you tomorrow.
Yeah, see you tomorrow.
it does not appear that any of the visitors would like to speak this evening. Committee reports, Mike, do you have anything from P&P?
Yes, I have Jeremy was present and provided the run summary to the board. He had stated that the day of the eclipse went well and no problems were reported. He also reported that Ben is starting to heal and coming along fairly decent, and he should be able to return back to work in the month of June. And reported that last month was a little slower, but was increased in non-transport calls.
Thank you. You wanna do fire?
Yep.
Perfect.
Okay, Sam was present and reported that he had 5 runs for the month of March, and he noted that the generator for the building was ordered. They're still waiting on high visibility coats, and the station was manned on April 8th for the eclipse, and no major issues, and everything was taken care of there. Helmet stickers are in, and Sam was to turn those in and get everything closed out, and then we had the chicken barbecue on April 28th, and when I was up there, everything seemed to be going real well for him, and
That's very
did
good.
a nice job, so appreciate everybody's input. Thank you.
Thank you. Beth, we have finance on page 16.
Yes. We had the Finance Committee meeting on Wednesday, April 17th. And just hit a couple things. We did discuss at the meeting the Hancock County Sheriff's Department renewal contract for 2024. The committee did decide that they would like to meet with a representative from the Sheriff's Department to discuss the contract. We were looking at Monday, which May 6th. And then after much discussion, a motion was made to reduce the hours from 20 hours to 10 hours for now, and bring it to the council during the monthly meeting on Monday, May 13th for approval. Committee decided they still would like the presence of the Sheriff's Department during the evening hours and weekends. And the committee hopes that the savings from the contract will be able to bring in a second police officer. We also discussed wage benefit package for the second police officer. And one more item was a spousal clause in the medical insurance benefit package for future employees that take insurance. We decided to table the item for now until we get some legal information from the solicitor regarding the spousal clause. And the meeting was adjourned at 6:35.
Thank you. We'll need a motion then to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the finance meeting minutes from April 17th.
Second that.
And out of that committee, we had a motion with the 10 hours with a recommendation for full council. In front of you, after our meeting with Sergeant Price, Lieutenant Price, I think it's Lieutenant Price.
No,
Mark.
call the board first.
Oh, yeah, sorry. No, thank you. I'm trying.
I know.
Yeah.
Mrs. Fenstermaker, this is on the finance.
The minutes. The
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was looking at this. This is, okay, yeah. So we just want to make a
Oh, no,
motion?
yeah.
We have to
We got the motions. We just
roll
need
for
You have to
the
approve your minutes
first.
first.
Oh, okay.
But
Sorry.
if we approve those minutes, it says the 10 hours, is that approving that, or we need a separate motion?
No,
for
You're
that?
only approving what's written down that happened at the meeting, correct?
Right.
Okay. So we have a first and a second, so Mrs. Fenstermaker,
Yes.
Mrs.
Sorry.
Clyde, Mrs. Sherrick,
Yes.
Mr. Fazy,
Yes.
Mrs. Gill.
Yes.
Okay, out of that committee, there was a recommendation or motion to go to 10 hours. And when Captain Price came out here, he told us that he would put a schedule together, and he has. And if you read what he put together, he looked at only time when Tammy was not on duty for contract time. First shift on Saturday and Sunday, then second shift. We have hours, minutes in the daily, Monday through Friday, and Saturday and Sunday we are getting a little extra. And then third shift basically mimics second shift. It did come up to 11 hours, but he realizes that it will be 10 hours. So if that's what council would like to go with, we will need a motion and officially for that.
So after that meeting,
Mhm.
and the discussions and everything, and the response from Mark, which before that, I wasn't aware that he wasn't aware of some of this stuff, right? So, in my opinion, just giving him the benefit of the doubt to be able to address the situation, that I'm just wondering if we leave it at the 20 hours and do a 3-month evaluation to see the response. I personally have seen a good response so far, because I've seen patrol cars on the move around town in a bunch of different areas and not sitting. So, that's just,
They were given the memo.
right. So, that's just my thought. And maybe we, or either that, or we leave it this way for 3 months, and we say, okay, we see your presence, we see what we like, what we ask, and so, okay, so we're okay with going back and increasing it back to the 20. I mean,
I've seen a difference too in their response and their timing and stuff, and they are on the move too. But I think our main goal is trying to free up more funds to be able to offer for a second police officer and recruit that.
which,
So my opinion would be is we leave it to the reduction of 10 hours, and then if we really are struggling and need to increase it, we could.
but let me ask you this, Melissa, did we not already have monies appropriated for a second police officer?
Yes. With
So the
this
funds-
counted in, right.
So
With
the-
this counted in.
Yes,
I was
with-
already paying 20 hours.
Yes, so the funds are already there anyway.
Yeah.
But did
They are.
those funds cover the increase in the pay that we are looking at for a second officer?
It should, because we're already almost halfway through the year,
Right.
so.
My thought with it too, after longer, the more we talked about it, is if we do this, we're going into the summer months and we're gonna have more people at home.
Right.
More kids around,
Yeah, more things going
more
on.
things going on at the park. So if we're gonna I mean, like he said, we can decrease this at any time if we want to, or
Right.
increase it. So if we do find another candidate that is, I'm not sure where that's at. if
We've
we-
had 2 that have turned them in. I know there is another person that's having some conversations with Tammy.
And I think at that time, we could always evaluate this, like, if we're.
Either we leave it at 20 now and go that route, or we wait 3 months and look at it then, but honestly, I would say keep it at my personal opinion is just keep it at the 20, because giving him the benefit of the doubt to do what we asked and bring it to the attention. I think the reaction is good.
Right.
We just need to continue seeing it, right? And then if we stay with the 20 for now and come back 3 months and there's, still issues, then I think, at least this way we give them the benefit.
Right, but we were also not looking at, again, reducing it just as a punishment.
No,
It
I
wasn't
know.
a punishment, it was to free up those funds.
But
Right.
we don't need to free up those funds. The
Yeah, because
funds
they're
are
already
there,
appropriated, yeah.
Unless I'm misunderstanding that.
Nope, that's correct.
I'm gonna play the devil's advocate. So I've just been reamed out because of my behavior and been told that they're gonna cut yours in the town. And then I go back to them and say, well, they decided to keep you. What are they going to do as a deputy? Are they gonna go, they don't care? I don't know.
Gotcha.
I think we stick.
I personally, this is just personal opinion, I would prefer that we do the 10 and then say, hey, we've noticed a change and we
Yeah,
would
I'm
like to
totally-
welcome you
I'm totally
back
on
to the
board.
village a little longer.
Yeah, I'm totally on board, either way.
Either way, but I think I
I
like
think
that way as well.
That's originally the way I thought too,
Yeah.
of it, is just to
Yeah.
keep it at this 10 and let them go, and we see the progress, and then at that point say, in 3 months from now or whatever.
And I agree, if we start to see we have issues in the summer, however, with Tammy being here throughout the day shift, they will be here more on that
Oh,
second and
right.
third and the weekend.
Yes.
And that's usually
Right.
when
And
you
that's
have
where we
your
need
issues.
additional coverage, right? Yep, agree.
But you guys are the final vote, so that's just, it's like you jerk their chain, but yet then you go, oh, it's okay.
Yeah, I hear you. I got you. Yep. Good valid point.
I just,
Are you gonna cry?
No, I'm gonna sneeze.
I'm
crazy.
Are you upset with doing it?
Okay, so do we need someone to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the 10 hours as we had stated. Yeah, with, you know, an evaluation in 3 months.
And I think we need to let them know that we are watching
Yeah.
and re-eval.
At the 3-month mark, I
Yes.
think that would be a smart thing to give them that.
Yeah,
And at that time, we could decide whether to reduce again, leave it the same, or increase.
correct.
I'll second that motion.
Any further discussion? So Mel, did you get that?
I think so.
10 hours and then re-eval in 3 months.
And Mr. Facey, you made the first motion?
Yes.
Okay.
And then Sarah, did you second?
Yeah.
Second, sir.
Any other discussion? Okay, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Mrs. Gill?
Yes.
Mrs. Sherrick?
Yes.
Mrs. Clyde?
Yes.
Mr. Facey?
Yes.
And on page 17, the minutes from planning and zoning, I was in attendance at that meeting. There was discussion to rezone a property on 220 West Main. We did review the application, and it went from an R1 to an R4. Junk vehicles and vehicles parking in lawns. I'm hoping that Rob has some additions to that. Open discussion, there was an issue with curbside parking, trying to figure out what we can do down there, because it does get very congested, and people run out and hit cars with their fists because they think they shouldn't be there. So I know Tammy was working to make that communication with them down there to see about some changes. I also know that Troy mentioned the buses. They may make them change, instead of dropping off out front, they may go on down on the other side of where that cafeteria is at. There's an area there, and then make them walk up along the building and go in that way. Is there a motion then to approve the minutes from planning and zoning?
I'll approve the minutes for April 17th.
I'll second.
Any other questions? Hearing none, Mel, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Mrs. Clyde?
Yes.
Mrs. Sherrick?
Yes.
Mrs. Gill?
Yes.
Mr. Facey?
Yes.
We already kind of covered the sheriff's contract under old business when we were doing that, and when I rushed it.
I don't know, should we put in the minutes that we did visit with Sheriff Price?
Yeah.
Sheriff Price?
On
May
Captain
6th.
Price.
Captain Price on May
Mhm.
6th? Yeah.
Yeah, they're all running together.
I know.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. And it took a while.
Yeah, it did. I mean,
Yeah.
you
It's
know.
just communication, and it's just something that.
Well, when I would email him, he would always get back or tell me that he would address, but I guess there were other things that I didn't know that were happening.
Right,
so.
yeah.
I thought it went very well.
Very well, yeah.
Anything else under old business? Anything under new business? Okay. Sarah, do you have anything for this evening?
I just want to say, the park guys are doing a great job at the park. We only had 2 T-ball games, but the grass has been, there hasn't been any flowers for the kids to pick, so.
There's
Yeah.
any flowers anyway, so.
Right, so,
Yeah,
the parks look nice.
It's been a struggle with as much
Are
rain
we-
as
Oh,
even
yeah.
if you do your own yard.
Right, are they getting porta potties on that? Have they done that in the past? I feel like there's always been a porta potty on the trail, path. Has that not happened in a while?
We haven't done it
Okay.
for a
Yeah,
long
we
time.
have-
Somebody asked me about it,
We
I'm like,
haven't
oh,
done it.
we've had it, I feel like there's been one out there, but
I just know when T-balls have to go to the bathroom, they have to walk all the way to.
All the way to the other,
Yeah.
Unless you're a boy.
Right.
Unless you're my grandson,
Yeah?
just walked over and went.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I guess you can do that when you're 2.
Yeah. That's all I have.
finance meeting on Wednesday.
I have no reason, but if you guys do.
Did we ever do the, evaluation? Did we, executive for that, or is that in finance?
Pardon?
Do we need an executive for that, or do we do that in finance?
There was improvement,
Okay.
but I'm not sure there's enough to warrant at this point, increase. We did say that we would revow on September 1st. There's definitely improvement,
Okay.
but it still is under the needs to improve.
What date, when did you, September?
September 1st. Yes, Greg, Melissa, and I each sat down, did ours, and then compiled them, and I met with her and went over.
I don't think so.
I don't think we even need to do that.
I don't-
Okay, then we'll, what's on the meeting, we'll do next one.
Anything else, Beth?
No, that was all I had.
Mike?
No, not really.
Haley?
I know we were scheduled to have Parks and Rec on Monday, right, the 20th?
20th?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did we say 6?
6.
6 o'clock, okay. And then I don't know if this will be discussed, but people are still asking about that darn pickleball court. Is there another date that we're gonna be doing that, or will we discuss it
I've
with
got,
Parks and Rec?
I've got the stuff ordered, the paint for it, so, I don't know, what, did we hear back from them whether?
They came out and did another project that day.
Okay, so
But as
we're
far
clear
as-
there, so I could probably actually get up some volunteers that, or people who are the ones asking to.
And what-
Right,
Right, I know it,
to
yeah.
help come down.
That's smart.
Try to get
Yeah.
it wrapped up, right? So, if I have a list of names other than Chris Ritz.
Exactly.
Give him the
Chris is
date.
gonna have a lot of free time coming up.
Right.
Oh, I
He
know.
told me about it
Oh,
today,
yeah.
and I'm like, I'll ask at the meeting, but it's not done. And he like asked 3 times, I'm like, Chris, it's not done yet.
Yeah,
Like,
it's gonna be.
it'll get
it's
done.
gonna be done,
He
yeah.
said we can't
So
go to
I'll-
family, it's way too busy.
I will reach out to him and,
Get him that paint.
get him.
Yeah,
as
I'm
well-
sure
as
he
was
said,
one of the volunteers.
he says he has
and-
friends wanting to go play, him and his
Oh,
friends
yeah,
can go.
so, yeah, so we can, get it wrapped up, so.
And I had someone ask me when the tennis net was going up earlier, and it was going up that following Monday, so at
Right.
least somebody's wanting to use it.
Oh, yeah. it's good.
I will
Somebody
tell
asked me
you.
that in like beginning of April, because it was a nice day. They're like, where's the net at? I'm like, I don't think it's really in season yet.
Not in Ohio.
No.
The grant that I put in to have that repaired, I talked to Jen, evidently the Ohio House has been rather an exciting, kind of acting like the US House of Representatives going at each other, and somebody, they had to have the Sergeant of Arms stuff in, and I don't know. So originally, she thought that that would all be handled in May. Now she told me, is she hoping by June that they will have their budget settled? So, the bid for replacing that came in about 28,000 more than I anticipated. That was a price at prevailing wages. So I asked Jen if we could kind of break the project, if we get this 100,000, break the project so that we could possibly have some Maupaw local people who wanted to go in and take the asphalt out and prep the area and take the hills out for the skateboard and not have to pay prevailing wages, and she said yes. So, we're still working on that. Anything else, Haley?
I don't think so.
Janie?
I wanted to say thank you to Beth for all of her hard work with the garage sale stuff. It was a good, great day, and I think everyone enjoyed it and had a good time, and a lot of people came to town. That was one of the first ones in the area, so
Mhm.
great work on that. know Kathy and I spoke about the volunteers in the cemetery, that's May 24th from 8:30 to 10:30. And then Kathy is asking that the cemetery board members, I know there's 2 more of you are in here, if you are available to help. There's a lot of kids and only 8 adults in the school.
There are 89 students, 44 pairs. The 3rd grade had a service living project and it fell through, so we have all 3rd and 4th graders coming to the cemetery. I know Deb Ewing will be there, but and they're sending 8 adults from the school. I did tell her I would prefer when you drive in that they stay to the east of the drive where the newer stones are at, and then to the new addition where the newer ones are. That I don't want the kids around the old stones. They're not going to clean up anyhow.
Right.
So I just keep them out of that.
I think Deb had did she have a listing of where we cleaned up?
She did. When you guys did that before, you used some type of cleaner.
Yep.
And because these are kids, and I
Yes.
didn't want anybody to say that some kid scratched a stone or did anything.
Yeah.
They are using water
Just soap
and
water.
maybe a little Dawn, possibly. I don't even know if we're gonna go there. It's probably just
I wonder how well that spray and wash.
I don't know. I'm leery of having anything really other than water and a rag. Basically, they'll get bird.
Right. Yeah,
That's,
gotcha.
and then it'll happen that Friday, and then we have, on Monday, we have the parade and things at the cemetery, so hopefully it'll still look nice.
Yep.
I should be able to help with that.
If you're available.
Just meet at the cemetery then, or?
Mhm.
Yeah.
The bus is bringing them right to the cemetery.
Okay.
And we'll have to make sure we don't have any kind of a funeral going on during that time. Usually they're 11 or after, but,
Not that I've heard, but if you want, I can double check after.
well, we wouldn't know probably at this point.
Okay, on the 24th, what time?
8:30 to 10:30 is when the kids are gonna be there. So again, appreciate any extra help. Anything else, Jamie?
It's a Friday, so.
Yes, it's a Friday, there is no rain date, so it's gotta be decent weather or we're
Yep.
not rescheduling. I've worked on 161 kids with projects and I'm not rescheduling.
I don't think I had anything.
Okay. Student committee reports?
I don't really have a whole lot. Everything for the park picnic day has been set up. It's just finalizing details. And then we elected new officials. officers.
Sorry, pardon me.
We elected new officers.
Okay.
Today. Christian's the president.
Congrats.
Maddie is the treasurer, and Grant is the vice president, and then they will need a new secretary.
And I also want to thank you for having people up here during the garage sale. I just checked with Melissa. It looks like it made a profit of $187. So for very little effort.
Yeah.
Did you guys end up selling all the plants then?
The village ended up purchasing at cost 4 of the geraniums that were left because we were gonna go buy them for the park.
Yeah.
I bought the extra cabbage. I think Tammy and Greg, they had a few ferns left and they bought them, so everything is gone. And I think, Jamie, you had made a comment, you had heard some people thought it was a little early, which, it was just an idea that since Ed's not here any longer, the vegetables were a big hit, I will tell you that.
Oh, good. Yeah.
My mom bought one, she loves it. She bought 2 ferns, so.
You gotta come get any cheaper ferns,
No.
it's nice.
No.
So-
I'm trying to get my husband up here to buy them, cause I was watching that. He wasn't doing it.
You should have gilded a Mother's Day.
Right.
Mother's Day.
Right. I did
So-
get a lot of comments about the ferns, that they were really big.
Very
Yeah,
big, very
yeah,
large,
very
so.
large, and, yeah.
I will never shop at Amherst on opening day ever again in my life.
I know, I came in to pick something up from Greg, and I was like, is Kathy here? And he goes, you know, I don't know what happened to her. It's been like 5 or 6 hours and she's just not back. And I was like, all right.
It's crazy, yeah.
Kathy.
Thank you.
I love flowers and greenhouses, but not on opening day down there. So, okay, legislative then.
For the student committee, I did make mention, everyone will need to make sure you kind of round up what community service hours you
Yes.
put it for.
Because I will put a letter together individually for your number of community service hours, okay? Thank you. Legislative,
I just left that on there just in
in
case.
case we had anything pop up. So fiscal officer report, pages 18 through 50.
And 18's got woman and Valentine.
I saw that, I was reading it, I'm like, what's different? There's something
I
different.
did the same thing, and I waited until I got here to like really.
Well, I attempted to read it on my phone and I didn't catch it, so hey.
So I'll need a motion to establish that stormwater grant fund.
I'll make the motion to establish the stormwater grant fund.
I'll second.
I got one of those postcards in the mail, and I have no idea what it's even for. What is it for?
Okay. The stormwater, the ERUs, is a way to generate some funds for our antiquated stormwater. And basically, Peterman went through and every homeowner was assessed $60. Businesses, they have to pay a lot more. In fact, I think the cookies probably around $13,000 that they paid. It's based on permeable water that can go in the ground. So if you have a lot that you do not have anything but grass on it, you will not pay for that. But it's like if you have a house where it has to go into stormwater, then you pay a
Is
price.
this something we've always gotten?
Mhm.
'Cause I feel like I remember like paying like with the water bill or something, you would. Was
No,
did
it
come
wasn't
with
when the water bill, it was probably,
those? Or like something
2019.
separate?
I wanna say
There's a separate
2019.
bill that you would
2019.
get for that
Okay.
breakdown.
So based on how much of your house is under, how much of your lot is under roof, I think is how it's calculated.
Okay.
But we did get this grant,
Oh, yeah.
$500,000.
Yeah.
So that.
I was just curious what it
Yeah.
was.
But
I'm like, I don't know what it.
we had, the village had no way of securing any funding that went towards stormwater. So a lot of the other places have done it, so we were like, okay, I was on council at the time.
Got it.
Because stormwater and sewer used to run together, right?
Mhm.
So like
And they had to
40
have
years
them all
ago, they
separated.
started
Yeah.
trying to separate them.
Yeah, that wasn't a problem back then.
Yeah. Yeah.
So any further discussion on that? Hearing none, then Mel, please call the roll.
Mr. Fazy?
Yes.
Mrs. Klein?
Yes.
Mrs. Sherrick?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenstermaker?
Yes.
Mrs. Gill?
Yes.
Anything else, Mel?
On the, I forgot, the adjustments for the gas accounts, they're separate line there. I think this is January through end of April, I think she's on. Let's see, yeah, end of April. That would need to be approved.
Can she put comments on all of them? Like why she's doing what she's doing?
Yeah. She should.
Is it
The
in
second page doesn't have a comment.
No.
The first and second.
Oh, yeah.
First, second.
I mean, because I wouldn't know.
I know that $200 is probably a shut-off.
Yeah.
Because it's
Shut
on
off and
property.
turn on, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard things that was water.
And I think that one in, at Laura Shuck, I think that's a,
Yeah, I think if I put
On.
the comments on that, I
Okay.
feel better about approving that.
I will let her know that. That was creepy.
Yeah. I think if, have her go back and put comments on them, and then we will
Do it next
adjustments to people's gas accounts that she's had to make.
Okay.
So that, like, if it's a well, it would only be, no, if it's a positive. I don't know, this is, yes, it's opposite, isn't it?
If it's a negative, it's like removal of a fee
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
removal of that money. Sorry, I was looking at a negative.
So like 190 is like a bill, like maybe they got turn off, turn on fees.
Okay.
And some of them are the $100 deposit minus what they owe. And then you have to pay it back to them, the remainder.
It's more for audit, so that if there's any adjustments, it shows why there was money taken out or money put in.
Okay.
Just a cross check.
Yeah, cover your butt.
Yeah. Anything else on that one? Okay. You have Greg's report there in front of you. Pretty generic down to number 9. It's kind of interesting. In the middle of the road, there was this huge cistern. Actually, if you look at it, it was an igloo-shaped cistern about 20 feet deep. I actually went down and looked at that. And somebody thought at one time they might have used it for when they pumped water for fires at one time. Way, way back in the dark ages. So, we are not just paving over it or cave in, we wanted to do it right.
Do you have an extra copy of that? Show me
Is it
some.
laying out in front of you or not, Mike?
No.
Okay. So, I do know that the guy in charge down there and Greg and some other people looked at it. There was discussion of filling it with stone, but they felt that that wasn't the best solution. So there's some kind of a Slurpee mix that K&L has, and they were going to put that in there, and then I think put so much stone on top. But it's going to be costly.
Slurry seal.
Maybe, I don't know. So that was interesting. We do have some signs on the back. There's some signs that are made up that will welcome that group into the town, directing them to the park for the Uncle Charlie softball. Haley, do you have anything else?
No, I think Greg covered it. I will be, let me say it's in there. I will be doing the concessions, and Don and I have been in contact as well. So, yeah.
They did ask Greg to talk with all of the convenience stores in town and make sure that they have great stock on ice as well as other items. Evidently, and Greg reminded them that we do not have alcohol in the park. So we shall see. We're still messing around with the water leak at the pool. Greg had to tell them they're going to have to wait till high school season is over to work at Dura Edge. I think that's pretty much it. It's been busy. With the daycare, he has bi-weekly meetings there with the project managers, and then keeping this one up to date and I have 33 letters have gone out for grass and trash, so it's been kind of ugly.
My neighbor finally wrote his, so.
I tell you that one kid that always is advertising, he should just start knocking on these doors.
Right.
I think, you know what, $20? Well, now it'll be $40, but you have to
So
mow it
the-
high and low.
The one on the, across Greater Road from me, is that still owned by the last people who live there?
Yes.
Is that, I was gonna say, are they the ones getting the letters? Cause that was mowed like 2 weeks ago and hasn't been.
Well, if
since.
you noticed, it's back up on the market.
Ah.
It must have fallen through.
I'm
My
thinking
guess
about-
is they can't get insurance on it,
Mhm.
an old home. That's my guess.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was just curious if it was them, so I'm like,
Yeah.
no.
It was, I don't know if you sent them down there to mow. I know they were sent couple places today to mow. On Main Street and some empty lot. The house that burned down,
Oh, I know. what
that
you're
one
saying. Yep.
supposedly was mowed today. But by the time you send the letters, wait so much time, send a second letter, the grass has grown another foot. So, okay, back to you, Ron.
All right. Aside from conversations I have routinely with Haley on gas accounts and looking at old cases that were from a long time ago and what we can do and not do, Melissa asked me to look into the viability or whether or not we could require even new employees for the Village of Macomb to seek health insurance of a spouse if they have it available to them. I did reach out to Don Essex, who's the human resource guy for the city of Findlay. He told me no, but it was a weak discussion, so to speak. I didn't get much of a good vibe about it. He says you can't do that anymore. Melissa and I ran into each other at Dorney Plaza, and I told her that I would reach out to another gal who's a human resource for a corporation instead of a municipality, which shouldn't make a difference, and I'm playing phone tag with that individual. So I'll call and get that, at least a second opinion. I'm not a health insurance expert, but those are the people we can reach out to see what they're doing. If I don't get a positive answer, we could reach out to maybe a couple other villages that have employees. Melissa, would be my thought, see if they've got that rule in the books. Don Essex made it sound like it was something that they did or people did in the past, and I'm familiar with it a little bit.
Yeah.
But he made it sound like it's something that they said you can't do it. I don't know if it was the idea of, well, what happens if one spouse is, company says you gotta go to the other spouse one says you gotta go to the, I don't know what the heck all that means. So maybe they did get rid of that option, but I'll do a final check on that. Last Friday, I did get, because Greg and I have been working on what I'll call the Section 97 dealio. Somehow, the village got a whole section of its own ordinances in regarding junk vehicles and litter and grass and other things that all villages in the city of Findlay, including, have. But you also have your American Legal Publishing Unit that you've adopted, which is a whole other set of code numbers and ordinances that are enforced. So, in a way, I don't think they conflict. Greg says they're identical. When I looked at them the other day, and in fact, they do seem to match up. So, I had made some adjustments a while ago, and Greg had Haley, with her quick typing skills or whatever, she had typed in apparently my comments and desires for that. I received that back Friday in a Word document, so I'm going to take that with me tomorrow. I would do other work on Tuesdays and Wednesdays when I'm outside my office. I have downtime, so I'll take that with me to work on. I'll double check what she's done, but what we're going to need to do, that Section 97 needs to go away. And you're using American Legal Publishing, so those are the code numbers we need to have. That's what apparently is on your internet site. We don't have a problem right now enforcing junk cars or weeds, but the ordinances are archaic, and we should review them as council or the whatever appropriate committee to take a peek at them. And so it'll do it as a draft. If we get what we want on paper, which shouldn't be complicated, particularly it just really involves the weeds and junk vehicles and just a few cleanups matters, then we should have an ordinance repealing Section 97 as a whole and amending whatever we'll call the American Legal, our other adopted ordinances under Chapter 174 or whatever the heck the number is, and then we'll have those changes in it and we'll be modernized. An example that I'm getting at here is your junk vehicle ordinance is old, and everybody's kind of made some changes. I never even paid the thought to read Macomb's. It's older, and if you really got into a fight with somebody, it's just more difficult and cumbersome to go to court on or prove. So what's being proposed, that I proposed in my notes, that Haley's apparently put on paper now, such that I can even edit it, is the same definition for junk vehicles and its enforcement that Van Buren, City of Findlay, Arlington, everybody else has. And if we get somebody that's a real pain in the butt, it's a lot easier to deal with it. We don't have to hire a mechanic to prove the car is immobile. There's a lot of other easier ways to have it removed. Plus, we're also learning to have discussions with people, and I can talk with Tammy about this, about, you know, if your car's sitting there and it's worth $500 to all these things you hear on the radio and TV now, you might as well get rid of it and put the $500 in your pocket, because if not, it's going to be ours, and we'll take it. So.
But that will go through the court.
That will go through the court, and hell, they can end up in jail if they don't get rid of it. So why not get rid of it now, then wait till a judge tells you to? And then you've paid fines and costs, and whatever, they give you $500 for the car, but you paid $500 before it's gone. So there's ways to do this, and we're finding it to work. You know, Van Buren did a kind of a sweep last summer, and it kind of worked well. The people that gave you a hard time, they eventually learned that it's just time to get rid of it. And a lot of times the junk cars really aren't a property owner's car. It could be an old lady's, you know, 40-year-old punk son's car. But when you put the pressure on her, because she's the property owner, she reaches out to the son and says, you got to get your car out of here. So we get that taken care of. It'll give Tammy a little bit more tool to get rid of these cars.
We have to do it right.
Yeah. So we shouldn't have to change it again. But there's some other things in there that you can change to clean that up, and you don't have two sets of codes on the same topics. Somehow that happened in 2014, or even older than that somehow. So.
I'm not sure. I know when Bob Schwab came in, Greg spoke with him and said something about it. He was naming the same places that we're looking at today. Same properties, and I'm like, yeah. So we have to do it right and make a, like you said, a grand.
Right, it's both, what I've noticed in other villages, it's both, what do you have in the books for the ordinance to make it easy, and then it's also enforcement. You can have the greatest law and rule ordinance, but if you don't have somebody like Tammy that wants to enforce it, then they do just sit forever and ever and ever. So, we'll get that done and get it to the right committee to make a recommendation to council.
Okay. Thank you.
That's all I got.
Any questions for Rob? Okay. Tammy, I know today she had me read a paragraph she was putting out there. Evidently dogs are running, spring dogs down. Did she put it on there?
Yeah, I saw it, but I also saw probably why there was an issue on Liberty Street with 2 dogs and a kid.
Well, she has had addressed 3 dog bites within a week and a half.
Yeah. I saw the dog warden in town twice for these dogs.
Yeah, he's been out, well, I do most of the dog charges at our office.
Yeah.
And they're, I mean, it happens every spring, but I mean, they are up, there's no doubt.
Yeah.
There's no doubt, and a lot of biting.
I was surprised to see him on a Sunday night though, like that was a weird.
Well, I missed that one, but I do know that she is dealing with that. We're also still trying to figure out the best way to do a little more recruitment. We did post on those others. I have not put it in the Courier yet because we wanted to see if we had any hits with the ones that Finley that you had shared. So she does have a gentleman that's been speaking with her. Has a background but doesn't have the OPATA training at this point. Okay. My report, again, I just make sure Beth knows how much you were appreciated for doing that. Greg and I did walk Main Street with Kyle Schmidt from ODOT. The streetscape money, it would be for fiscal year 28, but she said there could be a possibility for some in 27. It looks like that particular money is an 80-20 share with the villages being 20. We do have an estimate from Bonds just to replace the street lights, the current ones, including the ones that are in the spot but no longer there. $352,000. I have no idea what the estimate will be for concrete on Main Street.
$352,000 Okay, so we would potentially do 20% off.
Right.
Okay.
Now, she did say that there's money for doing connections, so we talked about Main Street, maybe connecting it with the daycare to the park. So we may try to pull a big one with that road in there. So we got a lot to think about there, but it's still a possibility.
But the 352 was just for the,
Just for the lights alone.
period.
Yeah. And that includes new poles and new tops.
And they wouldn't agree to use our tops.
No, the size of their poles are different, and the warranty on some of it doesn't cover if you mix them. So,
Okay. Yeah, I just want to be clear on that.
right. I thought that perhaps if they were installed properly, those would be kind of neat, the ones that are left to move down to the park somewhere. Just an idea. United Way Days of Caring, we had 3 groups. Obviously, I had Haley put them online. Marathon from Polium, they removed those curb bumpers on the sand volleyball. They also painted the guardrails over the bridge, because I was gonna have students do that. And when I looked at it, thought about it, no, we'll have a belts. I don't know if Haley's had the chance to go back to the concession stand.
Looks
The
really good.
inside is very bright and is painted white. It absorbed paint like you wouldn't believe, so the second crew that arrived had to continue to paint over it, but it does look very nice, so thankful for them. City apparel and merchandise, because we had rain on Thursday and didn't have the paint, pickleball court was pushed back, so they painted the concession stand. They also painted some of the, I don't know, dugouts at the top at the back of the park. Whirlpool, this was by far the go-to team. Painted the shelter house number 4 and the poles around that. They were definitely the workers. On May 7th, I did not read the 4th grade, I read the 3rd grade. Next week, May 8th, we did open the bids for downtown. Each project had a successful bid with the exception of Jerry Seiferd's HVAC system. They are looking into whether that could be finalized. The west side of Jerry Seiferd's building where the co-op parked along there, that came in at over $100,000 on a bid for tuck pointing of that. So that was way, way more than what was projected. So between Kleinfelder and Jerry, they're kind of going over that together to see what might be able to be substituted on Jerry's and not do the $100,000, or whether, if it's to the point where it's too costly to repair, like they did in Lipstick, they were able to put a newer material as a facade on it, but it still looked time period. On Saturday, I was up here with the 4-H group. They planted the big pots downtown. They mulched at the flags at the park and along the pool and planted that L flower area as you drive into the park. Again, great job, service learning that they needed. ERUs, about 2,000 of that is penalties. So people are starting to take notice on that. I shared with Marks, 33 letters. Bless Keith Alt, you had to have a current license even though you were opening up a new daycare. He was able to secure a $500,000 grant. It'll purchase $100,000 will go to the playground equipment, and some goes to kitchen and other items there. I feel very, very lucky. The YMCA applied for their new center, and they didn't get the grant, so they're all wondering how we get it. Well, Keith, thank you very much. Tomorrow, depending on the weather, the Rotary will finish playing all the urns in downtown, and at the